news here on One News Now. I'm Charles Lejano. Metro Manila mayors are set to shorten curfew hours in NCR. MMDA Chairman Benhur Abalos said that starting this Wednesday, the curfew will begin at 12 midnight from the current 10 p.m. until 4 in the morning. Meanwhile, Abalos also admitted that the volume of vehicles along EDSA was steadily increasing. However, the MMDA chairman takes this as a sign that the country is heading towards economic recovery.
Yung konting traffic na ganito, ako kasi yung walang tao sa kalye, parang in a way, parang nakikita ko na, wow, sisigla na sana ekonomiya naman natin. No? Ang mga tao ay very confident na, lalo na yung nakakadalawang bakuna. Importante ang minimum health protocol at what is important ay talagang mag-ingat po tayong lahat. At gusto ko lang i-announce, Yusek Rocky, no, na mamaya may meeting kami sa IATF tungkol dito sa ating quarantine.
The Health Department is urging LGUs to strictly follow their master list and vaccination scheduling to avoid overcrowding at vaccination sites. To tell us more about this and other matters raised in today's DOH briefing, we have Greg Gregorio. He's reporting to us live from Manila. Good afternoon, Greg. Let's talk about Yusek Vergere mentioning that LGUs should be more organized with their vaccination rollout. So how exactly are LGUs distributing their vaccines now, and how can this be improved according to the Department of Health?
Charles, according to the Department of Health, there are indeed LGUs that are in compliance to the advisory of the national government to every LGU that they should utilize or maximize their master listing and employ appointment system in their vaccine rollout. Based on our observations, LGUs that do this kind of system are Makati, Antipolo, Quezon City, San Juan, and Mandaluyong. But according to Vergere, they have recently monitored some reports of overcrowding in vaccination sites and in some LGUs. And part of these recent reports is the vaccine rollout here in Manila, where they do not employ appointment system. In fact, earlier today, when we arrived here at this vaccination site where there are available 2,000 doses to be administered today, more than 2,000 individuals went here and queued on the line, hoping that they could get the chance to have their first dose of COVID-19 vaccine. But apparently, as of 8:42 a.m., all these available slots of 2,000 available doses have been filled. And then some of them went home disappointed, and some just said they'll just go back the other day. Charles?
Right, so Greg, that being said, how far along are we in terms of the government's target population for vaccination, at least as of today?
Charles, according to Health Undersecretary Vergere, as of June 12, we now have 9.8% of our total population for vaccination as fully vaccinated. But we are yet to receive a clarification on this matter, because if we are talking about 9.8% of fully vaccinated individuals out of the 70% target population for herd immunity, this should mean 6.8 million individuals fully vaccinated here in the Philippines. But as of the June 12 data released by the Department of Health during the Laging Handa press briefing last Saturday, it shows that only 1.8 individuals in the Philippines have been fully vaccinated so far. Thus, we are still seeking for clarification from the Department of Health regarding this matter. Charles?
Hi, Greg, talking about information from the Department of Health, do we have any updates on the vaccination of the A4 priority group, and are there many vaccine registrants from this sector?
Charles, according to Health Undersecretary Vergere, as of June 12, again, a little over 100,000 individuals who are qualified under the A4 priority sector have already been given their first dose of COVID-19 vaccine. But we have not received any estimate of how many A4 individuals have been registered so far. But according to the recent estimate from the National Economic Development Authority, there are 35 million individuals here in the country who are qualified as A4 in the vaccine prioritization framework of the national government. Charles?
Greg, we had previously reported that there were about 2 million doses of AstraZeneca that's set to expire this month and next month. So have these been distributed?
Yes, Charles, according to Undersecretary Vergere, 100% of this 2 million doses of AstraZeneca vaccines have been distributed across the country, and there are only a little over 100,000 doses that are yet to be administered in some vaccination sites. Charles?
Greg, I understand as well that there are several batches of vaccines that arrived earlier this month, including 1 million more doses of Sinovac. So where are these shots right now? Have they been distributed to the LGUs?
Charles, from the 2.2 million Pfizer and BioNTech COVID-19 vaccines which arrived last week, 210,000 doses were sent to Cebu, while another 210,000 doses were sent to Davao. We are yet to receive additional information based on the distribution of the remaining doses, but according to the Department of Health, 40% of this vaccine the doses will be allotted to the National Capital Region, while 60% is allotted to those regions outside Metro Manila where we are seeing increase in cases. And if we are going to talk about the 1 million doses of Sinovac vaccines which also arrived last week, according to Health Undersecretary Vergere, we are still waiting for the Certificate of Analysis or COA before we can distribute this doses of Sinovac. According to Vergere, this should come from the manufacturer before we can use these vaccines delivered to us. Charles?
All right, Greg, we're currently doing the A4 priority group, but then I understand as well that there's still a lot of backlog insofar as the A2 and A3 groups are concerned. But then looking forward, when do they intend to start vaccinating indigents from the A5 priority group?
Charles, according to Health Undersecretary Vergere, there are already guidelines in place if we are going to start the vaccination for those individuals under A5 or the indigent population. According to Vergere, an LGU may start the inoculation for individuals under the A5 if they think they have the enough allocation of COVID-19 vaccines for this priority sector, but because we are still having the problem on the supply, those individuals under A1 until A4 priority sector are still the ones that we are prioritizing in our vaccine rollout. Charles?
Thank you and stay safe, Greg. That was Greg Gregorio reporting live from Manila. A political science expert says the names released by Isambayan for its possible candidates for president and vice president are, quote, stale. On One News's agenda, UP Professor Clarita Carlos said some of the names that the coalition is considering do not live up to the public's expectations. She also accused the coalition of violating election laws. As Carlos says, the group's naming of potential candidates may be considered early campaigning.
It's like the absurd reaction of COMELEC when they say, no, you can't, that's not a violation because they have not filed their candidacy. I mean, how absurd is that? Putris ka, ang laki-laki ng mga nandun sa SLEX. Ang laki-laki ng pangalan mo doon, hindi electioneering ang tawag doon. Anong tawag doon? Hello, and we're stupid people.
The expert also said that the biggest flaw of Isambayan is its supposed endorsement of elites or oligarchs. Carlos also pointed out that the coalition's preaching or holier-than-thou attitude does not work in politics and is not effective in wooing the general population.
I'll tell them, get off your high horse, please, and talk to the people. Kasi, pati yung mga salitang ginagamit yung mabubulaklak, wala na. Para nakakayamot na, more of the same thing. And so, ano ngayon, diba? Let's have something new.
G7 leaders have forged a united front on issues surrounding China, including alleged forced labor practices, transport and energy concerns, as well as its influence around the world. Roz Krasny talks about this on Bloomberg Daybreak Asia.
So, Roz, Biden's task in Cornwall and turning the page on the Trump era doesn't seem to be the hard one as much as uniting the G7 around at least a nominally anti-China goal. How well did he succeed on these?
Well, that's absolutely true, and it seems like really for the weekend, diplomacy in general was a big winner, and you can sort of pass some of the details and think that Biden didn't get everything he wanted. wanted. He got some of the things he wanted, and he said in his press conference that he was pretty happy with the way things went down in Cornwall. So I think all in all, probably seen as at least a moderate win for Biden. And really, as you say, turning the page from the Trump era and the first in-7 G7 meeting in two years, of course. So we're gone the sort of administration efforts not to sign on to communiques and to leave meetings and then to trash talk on Twitter immediately upon departing. So that's all gone now. And the declaration that came after the meeting, fairly harshly worded about Chinese and Russian government behavior, and of course a vow to investigate the coronavirus pandemic's origins in Wuhan, and that's something that Biden has pressed increasingly. So I think generally the administration would go away thinking that they've had a win here.
We are now looking ahead to Biden's meeting with Putin on Wednesday. We've heard from both Putin and Antony Blinken ahead of that, kind of managing expectations.
Exactly. Well, I think one thing we're not expecting on Wednesday in Geneva would be a side-by-side press conference with Biden and Putin. Of course, we remember President Trump and President Putin side-by-side in Helsinki back in 2018. And certainly both have indicated that it could be a frosty affair, that relations are a low point. Biden certainly agrees with Putin about that, and maybe that's one of the things they do agree on. He's expected to raise with Putin some of the recent cyber attacks on critical U.S. industry, gasoline pipelines and the meat industry, and yet he's also spoken about potential areas for cooperation. So we did hear from, as you say, Secretary of State Blinken, don't expect a light switch moment, but the process is going to be entrained for possibly a more stable relationship between Washington and Moscow. And I thought that President Putin's comment on Friday that there won't be any impulse-based moments with Biden. I think he's talking in general, not about the meeting this week, but Biden is totally different to Trump, and I think expectations are that he'll be a stable presence in this meeting as well.
U.S. President Joe Biden and his wife Jill met with Queen Elizabeth at Windsor Castle on Sunday. The 95-year-old British monarch greeted the Bidens in the quadrangle of the castle, which is home to the royal family for nearly 1,000 years, giving the U.S. President and First Lady a taste of British pomp on their arrival. A guard gave a royal salute, and the U.S. national anthem was played. The American President and Queen conversed briefly before heading inside the castle for tea. This marks the end of the British leg of Biden's first international trip since taking office. And those are the top stories at this hour. Join us again later at 2 p.m. as we continue to monitor the day's biggest stories. You can also catch One News on Signal Play. Register for free account now at www.signalplay.com and stream One News live anytime, anywhere. I'm Charles Lejano. Mask on, wash hands, and stay safe, Philippines. We are One News.